Okay, in this video, as announced previously, we're gonna create the first proper program, a small calculator with which we can add numbers that the user inputs. To do this, we're gonna use almost all of the stuff that we have looked at previously. We're gonna use the print functions, we're gonna use maths, simple maths, we're gonna use variables, and most of all, most importantly, we're gonna use the input functions to receive numbers that we're going to add. I'm just going to override or delete what we had before in this little program and use it to write our calculator. It is always useful in programming to pause for a moment and think what you want your program to do exactly. What is the procedure, the method that the program has to go through in order to give us our result? The result that we want is the program adding two numbers that the user can input. So logically, the first thing that the program has to do is ask for the two numbers which are going to be inputted. To do this, we use what we learned in the previous video, the input function, in order to get input from the user. Our calculator is going to add x plus y. We need x and y, so we set x, the variable, equal to the input of the user and give a small message so that the user knows what to input. Please, okay, what number would you like to add? And that is x, and we still need a y number, the second number that the. So again, we get input and add, and we write, let's say second number. These aren't the clearest instructions, but they'll be understandable. So now if we run this, our program will ask the user to input a number. Well, we'll ask the user to input something, which in this case it will hopefully be a number. We'll set it equal to x and ask the user for a second number, which it will set equal to y. Next thing we want our program to do is add the two numbers. For this, we can simply use the simple math that we have already used or learned about. We want our answer to be a new variable so that we can do further stuff with it in the future. So our answer, we'll call it ASW for answer, or answer, ASW. Now ASW is equal to the sum of x and y, so we simply add x plus y. Since our user wants to know the result of this calculation, we'll return, or we'll print, the answer. The answer is equal to ASW. What this does now, to make our program a bit more, aesthetic or beautiful, we're going to add a small welcoming message. We're going to print a line saying, welcome to the addition calculator program. Okay, this is our program so far, and this is all the program needs. We're just gonna go ahead and save this and test it to see whether it does what we want it to do, and then to take a look at what exactly each line of code does. Here we go. We run the program, our live shell starts, and we get our first message that we have printed. Welcome to the addition calculator program. Then the computer, or the program, Python, runs the next line and asks us for our first number input. What number would you like to add? We're going to add 10. Enter. Now x is equal to 10 to y, and the second number we'll make it 5. Now x is equal to 5, and our answer is equal to 105. That doesn't seem correct. There's a very simple reason why our answer is 105. When we use the input function and make it equal to something, the user input is generally automatically saved by default as a string. Strings, as we remember, are not the best thing to use when working with numbers and with math. And therefore, we have to make sure that the input that the user gives is immediately converted to an integer, which are, remember, all whole numbers, which we can then add together. If we add strings together, we simply get a larger string. We had 10 plus 5, so the program took 10 and put 5 in the end, giving 105. A string of characters. What we want the program to do is take an integer, a number, and mathematically add another number to it. To specify that x is to be converted immediately into an integer, there's a simple little trick. It follows. All we have to do to make something into an integer, a number, is write int standing for integer, and in the brackets put whatever we want to make an integer. In this case, x will be equal to the input of this converted to an integer. Same goes for y. Integer, input, Now, if we add x and y, we will hopefully get an answer that makes sense mathematically. Save, run. Okay, by the way, F5 is probably faster. If you press F5, you can run. And here we go. We go again. We add 10, make 10 equal to x. We make 5 equal to y. And our answer, voila, is 15. The first integer was added to the second integer, giving a new integer the answer. Although this program is very simple, needs little knowledge of programming to make, it is the basis of very many, even much more complex calculators. In your calculator, in your graphics calculator, in your GDC, the calculators you use for math, this is the code, or a similar code, in a probably different programming language, but this kind of code is sitting there inside your calculator, working with the numbers, receiving input, saving the input as variables, working with the variables, and giving back the answer. Now, of course, this program here is very limited. The only thing we can do is add two numbers. What if we want to subtract, divide, multiply? We could, of course, simply add the operator, the sign plus here, and make it a subtraction to subtract numbers. But in the long run, we are going to want to create a program where the user can choose what kind of operation they want to do, whether they want to add or subtract. And to do that, we're going to have to take a look at logic statements. Logic statements in Python that are there allowing the user to decide upon things, allowing decisions. If something happens, then something else happens. And that's for the next videos.